Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us right before lunch and right after refreshments. I think this is the best slot. Uh, Welcome, all of you. I think you've already been introduced, so I'll jump straight to our conversation. Today we are discussing how to design content in the times of AI. To just give you a small background check, though there are a lot of creators here, uh, Facebook took 10 years to get to 1 million users. Netflix did that in 3.5 years. Instagram took 2 months. Spotify took 5 months. And it took 5 days for ChatGPT to reach 1 million users. That, my friend, tells you that AI is here to stay. And if we say it's going to stay, the thing and the picture that's going to change is for the world of content marketers, content creators, designers, because content is just not words, it's texts, images, it's paintings, it's designs, it's videos. And trust me, AI is everywhere. From Deep Dreaming, Midjourney, Bard, ChatGPT, Microsoft announcing their own AI integration. So my first question will actually be from a creator herself. Uh, Siley, thank you so much for being here. Sorry. Okay, yeah. So my first question for you is that we have seen the content evolution, and you being a creator are at the center of it. If you were to give me three things that have or can define the content creation process for content creation then, now, and tomorrow, because I think you've actually experienced it, and you are amongst just a full-time creator. So, please, all yours.
I think I'm gonna just give you one thing which translates into three. So, content then was primarily, and sorry, that one thing is production value. So, content
True.
then was low production value, right? It was blogs, it was text, it was heavily text driven. You didn't need a lot of like cameramen around you. You didn't need a lot of you didn't need road mics and this and that back then. It was a person sitting at home could start a blog and become a content creator. You could take a few cute pictures and you would still be pretty established. You could have one website and it would still blow up. When Facebook began, again, it was just the what are you up to, right? Like just the text bit. Twitter was one of the first ones which is still going on and going strong, but text heavy.
But then Musk happened.
Then Musk happened. Then I cannot comment on that because he
No
will
Musk
ban
curry,
me.
don't worry.
No Musk. So that was then. Now it is, even if you have zero followers, you want to become content creator, you need two DSLRs, three Rode mics, and a massive edit table.
Make notes, make notes.
At the same time, now, before it was text, right? People used to consume a lot of text. Now, a lot of people we are all visual learners. That's what they say, right? So you sit, you browse Instagram or YouTube Shorts, etc. You have your attention span has gone down from 5 minutes to 30 seconds. Now maybe three. I've already lost half the crowd. I have no idea who's listening to me, but it's video heavy, right? So your edit has to be on point as well. And in the future, I believe it's going to be a little bit different because production value was low then. Now it's a little higher. I think AI is actually going to make it cheaper because I was experimenting with one of these edit softwares. They can transcribe my video within seconds. It's insane. I do not need to pay an editor to create subtitles, etc. for me because I just have to upload my video, tell them to transcribe, tell them it's in English, and they do it. The only few words and corrections that I have to make are when I tend to say that, are iska matlab. Now, bichara, he's not going to understand Bombaya style of
True.
English. So I think it's going to make the production value lower, but it's going to up the game in terms of in terms of scale, how quickly you can make content, how many videos you can churn out. It's going to make it easier for us to make content, but it's also going to increase the pressure of making more and more at that level.
True. I think that sums it up very beautifully. And yes, the cost is going to definitely get down. Uh, this is about like summing it up. Mrinal, you and me, as I said, we belong to the dinosaur era of content. We have actually seen the content then up close and personal, being part of it, me as a journalist and you being closely associated with Quora and working for it and heading global product support there. Uh, but you know, the best part about being part of something and seeing it grow is that you know when that quick click happened. So, when do you think that switch happened?
That's a nice question. So, talking about the dinosaur era, I think 2016 is what Riddhi is referring as dinosaur era. So, 2016 is when I got active on like content creation, and I realized that primarily in 2016 or 2017 is the time when people were trying to self-express themselves. They were trying to create content for putting their people call it thought leadership, which is kind of like cringy, but like at the same time, you are trying to establish your expertise, trying to find ways to put your word out there, express yourself, um, and just lending the words from what Sayali said, right, about production value. I think the production value happened because of, and this is kind of musical because it happened because of e-commerce websites, right? Like we started shopping online, and who is influencing us? So that's when the whole content creation game just changed. We we earlier used to buy Thumbs Up because Salman Khan promoted it, but now we actually take our finance advices because people like Sayali are giving fintech education, right? So I think that is one of the major things that happened, and it happened somewhere in 2018. So I remember that I was doing my boring telecom job. Many people don't know, but I was a dinosaur in telecom, like 8 years in telecom, worked in like largest MNCs, and I was getting bored. I really wanted to like breathe. And that's when I started looking for opportunities where I could actually leverage my skill set. And somewhere in 2018, I think I actually applied for Musically, which is now like TikTok. And TikTok just changed the game. Riddhi was talking about these details of like how many people, how many subscribers, how many users. And this was something that I was obsessed in my previous role with Quora, was like how many monthly unique visitors are we getting on the platform? Because that's what matters. But what matters is actually how engaged these people are. Just getting a footfall is not important. How much time can you take? So in the era of UGC or user generated content platform, what matters is that you know nothing is free, so you are basically paying in your time, right? And in 2018 when this happened, TikTok is right now like around, I was just like checking the numbers, it was around 1 billion monthly unique visitors around 2020, like 2018 to 2020, like huge. And I mean, around 1 million kind of like people are actually on like six figure salary they are getting. I mean, that content creation has become like this lucrative job that your parents are not discouraging you to become a YouTuber anymore, right? Like, and this was the time when Riddhi and I started thinking about creating content, where YouTube was actually a dating platform. It was not a content platform, right? Like 2007 was a dating platform. You used to put up your video and like look for a soulmate, but that's not what it is now. Universal Studio, to like every single brand has to have like a social media strategy, right? So I think somewhere in 2018, 2020 is when pandemic happened and this world erupted. And talking of chat GPT, it just like revolutionized everything, and it's just the beginning. It's not, I don't think it's even 1% of what it can become in next 5 or 10 years.
Thank you so much. That was beautifully defined. Uh, what Brinal just ended it with, the strategy bit of it. That's where I think Rahul and Anuj, both your agency experiences come in. But there's this huge debate around, content will take away, AI will take away jobs, and, it's the same, the same old stories that we hear कि अच्छा अब सब चीज़ें ऑनलाइन होएगी तो print will no longer exist because online has come. So similarly now it is that journalists will lose their jobs. सबका काम तो चल ही रहा है, we understand that. But the point is that this whole debate of not man versus wild but man versus machine, how do you actually, what's your take on it?
I think most of the advertising industry people who work in content are scared. There has been a lot of conversation around whether AI is coming for our jobs. It's probably coming for mine, and hence I'm here looking for side hustles. Just kidding. Okay, so I have a different perspective on it. Rather, there's no one answer, I would say. Is AI coming for our jobs? Yes and no. You know,
You just chat GPT it?
I did. I did. And I won't lie, I do use it. And I'll come to the point why. So I'd rather like to ask y'all, and it's for the audience also, right? I'd like you all to go back to your childhood and remember those ads which you used to watch on TV, like those jingles that used to stick in your heads, right? Aditi saying, okay, Hamara Bajaj. Anyone else? Any ad that you remember? Action ka school time. Dhara ad. What about? Ting 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 from Britannia. About you? Super Nirma. So there was this unique thing about content. I mean, if you go back in the day, all of that was content, just on broadcast media, right? The thing about AI is that it is capable of giving you a lot of great quality information, but it is not able to filter out things based on what's relevant to you always. And hence, the skill of getting information out of, say, a chat GPT is, or say even a mid journey, is really a skill in itself. I mean, computers came by, we still have jobs, right? Just similarly, like technology will become a part of it. It's not an either or, it is an and always. But it will, what ChatGPT AI will do, it will weed out weak talent. If I have to define weak talent, I mean, just to give you an example, and I'm sure everyone's seen this on LinkedIn, 5 copywriting tips. Start with a number. 5 habits to keep so you can have a productive
7,
life.
always an odd number. 7,
Hence
5.
5 as- Okay, yeah.
Some theory about odd numbers.
Yeah, right. Don't sell soap. Don't say that buy soap. Say buy freshness after a bath and all of that stuff, right? Now that's Chat GPT work. And actually Chat GPT will do a much better job. But what Chat GPT yet cannot do is bring in human insights, bring in research, really understand people, right? I mean, coming from an advertising background, I can just quickly say that my job is to spend time understanding people before even the copywriter gets involved, right? There's one skill in marketing, and all marketing professionals here know that briefing is a skill in itself, right? Briefing Chat GPT is going to be the next skill. You can't just go to Chat GPT and say that, hey, give me one campaign idea for my SaaS product. You'll have to write that detailed brief. That is going to be a skill. One very recent example of rather the whole man versus machine discussion, and I'm telling you because this example is from the art head of my agency. He spent 25 years plus in the industry. So he's also from the age where he used to, he's seen handmade artworks for advertising. But recently, just rather 2 days back, he was not able to find a certain piece of art or a particular image on Shutterstock. And what he did, he went to DALL-E and he actually typed a prompt saying that, okay, this is what I need. And he spent about 10 minutes improving that prompt and refining it. And the output he got was as good as a clear stock image with exactly what he had in mind. And I think that's one of the challenges we face today as marketers, right? Stock image nahi mil raha, sorry, aapko shoot karna padega. And production value. I think AI is going to solve a lot of that. So at any point, who needs to be scared? People who are not upskilling, who are playing at the surface, people who get into the depth of understanding the basics of marketing. I mean, at the end of everything, आप digital marketer ho, or you're into content marketing, or you're a content creator. If you are not getting the pulse of your audience, if you don't know how to connect, we've been speaking a lot about authenticity, right? And I think as a marketer, what I like to just call it personality. AI will give you information. It is also capable right now to give you a personality because you can actually give it cues like...
Yeah, so because at the end it's mimicking human conversation.
It
That's
is.
exactly what it is supposed to be,
Correct.
right?
So you can actually say that, hey,
Yeah.
okay, give me a pun in the voice of Riddhi. Probably
Yeah.
it'll give me a name like ridiculous, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So point is that it's not yet there, but as Mrinal pointed out, the possibilities are endless because the journey has just begun. It's a new era. You know, that whole web 1.0, then 2.0, where social came in. And I remember when TikTok came in and they used to visit our agencies with their pitch. And there's this one thing that really caught my attention. It said, we are here to democratize content. Before TikTok, it was just the brands and a few established creators putting out content. After TikTok, production value, yes, because we need videos, we need content, but the production quality and at least my thought is, you can today work with a phone. You know, that's where probably people in tier 2 cities are creating content. That's where all of these other apps like MX, Takata can all have come up. So AI is going to make our journey easier, but we need to keep pace with it. You know, either AI owns us or we own AI.
On that note, uh, uh, so basically, coming to you, Anuj, uh, you are on a very beautiful. You are a creative person. You're an author. You have 7 books to, 7 best-selling books that you've written. Now, one of
Thanks
our
for mentioning best-selling.
subtle plug. Okay, so and you also had a digital agency. Now, one of our friends who also runs a AI company has recently published India world's first AI written book as well. Uh, Same question. क्या AI आपके पेट पे लात मारेगा? So, do you think that AI will? My question is not that will it replace us, but do you think this whole uh, idea of uniqueness when it comes to voice, tonality, creativity will go on an entirely different level? Because how do you define this is ChatGPT and this is a person?
Actually, AI and ML, machine learning, is not new. It's coming from a very long time. Uh, this AI, ChatGPT, the all buzz, it is actually the middleware of the whole ecosystem. ChatGPT can be a search tool, which we used to do on Google. Now we can just ask, right?
So same generative.
So
AI.
it's a kind of a teacher or instructor, whatever it is you call it. It can never be the outcome. ChatGPT cannot tell the difference between the books of Anuj Tiwari and Chetan Bhagat. And the day when it says, I think the discussion is all over because AI will take over everywhere. So first thing is very clear. People sitting in the house who are very creative, don't worry about it. They are not going to take your jobs because it is just a tool. Because of the advertising, you are seeing ChatGPT everywhere, but it is just a middleware of the whole ecosystem. ChatGPT cannot tell today's Valentine's Day, a couple sitting in a coffee shop in Bandra, it cannot tell how they are feeling right now. Maybe ChatGPT can only tell what's the time in US right now, right? So don't worry. I mean, I just want to say because the reason I came here today just to console you, don't worry about it because ChatGPT is not going to take over your job.
सब ठीक हो जाएगा,
It
सब
is
ठीक
just that, it is going to make your job easier, but not the outcome. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you so much. That was so beautifully put. Sab theek hai? I think everybody is feeling better now. Dr. Anuj is in the house.
All sorted.
All is well. My next question is for Aditi. Now, what I find very beautiful about Aditi's content is that it has her signature style. You are a high performance coach. You have a mental fitness gym, if I'm right, and your content cannot be replicated. Okay, Atamaji Satakli cannot be replicated. So, where do you see and how does AI affect you and your content creation process?
I fundamentally feel when I became a content creator during the pandemic, I wanted to solve a social problem. Everybody was anxious, and I felt mental health was not spoken about.
True.
And I had a simple idea. I said, what if we make mental fitness fun, functional, and fashionable? Simple idea. And I'm like, what could be better than Bollywood to talk about it? So, what she's referring to as Atamaji Satakli was our content peg on all the emotional triggers you have. So Atamaji Satakli was the easiest way for people to understand. I feel if you focus on impact and you say, okay, every piece that I do how it is impacting the person who is suffering somewhere or trying to solve a problem, that just becomes easier. I think what he was saying, giving the brief to AI is so nice. I'm a dyslexic, and I feel this is the best time for me to be a dyslexic. I don't have to wait for the struggles to kind of like wait for the perfect plugin. I just have options, and then my pegs are ready to make the recipe better. So what back in the day, mums had to inherit recipes, and there was like hush hush conversation about it. Now there are 10 aunties telling you exactly what to do on YouTube. Now the same thing gonna just become faster. The intent is the most important thing. If you don't have the intent, content creation will always remain a tough job because it takes that personal energy to say something. People still, if you look at Finn Cocktail, we believe Siley's face and her commitment, and that fundamental face. I feel with mental fitness, I did that. I'm like, okay, it is difficult as a problem, but we can definitely make it easy and make it entertaining and take pride in talking about it. So when you solve a problem, it changes the way you create content. Yeah.
Nice. Now with all of you talking such nice things about ChatGPT, it makes me feel that we have that chakalaka boom boom pencil that we'll see acha aisa kuch chahiye and then it'll give you what you want.
Also, I feel people are very stressed about it, which is what to do,
That's
what
why we
not
have
to
Dr.
do.
Anuj in the house, don't we?
Yeah. Also, I'm gonna.
It will not give you, actually, it will just tell you where it is. So you have to take that.
Perfect, perfect. So now that we have come to the fact that okay, sab kuch theek hai, I wanted to know how do you think the strategy will change? And I will first go to Anuj now because Rahul doesn't leave the mic. So okay. So Anuj, you tell me that how, because you also have the agency side. How do you think the strategy to create a content will change? Because you have a new almost a resource, in-house resource to help you, as you said, to help you out. So what is positive about it and what is negative about it?
Actually, it's a very early stage of this change, probably the transition. So
Okay.
anywhere that when the transition is happening, there are hiccups, right? So it's a very early stage to tell what will happen, 5 years down the line.
Do tell us about the hiccups too.
But it's true that the process is going to be very faster. The things that we used to do like in 3 years, that probably we can do in 30 minutes or 20 minutes, right? The process is faster, which is very much needed in this digital world. So in that way, the strategy will be changed, like how quickly you can, do things in the digital world. That is one thing. That is one benefit of ChatGPT. Probably the one thing that I'm in favor of. And accordingly, we have to change the strategy for brands, right? So I think that is one of the advantages. Hiccups, I would say, like as I said, it can never give you the precise outcome how you're going to do it. As Rahul said, ChatGPT or any other AI tool cannot tell you, just give me the idea for this XYZ marketing strategy. So I think that is the disadvantage at this stage. Probably it's a transition period of that change of ML or AI. So I think slowly and gradually, we all are hoping that it will, benefit us.
Okay, that's one hiccup. Rahul, would you like to add on to it? I would want to know roadblocks, challenges, along with the strategy part.
Strategy.
अभी बनाने नहीं है. Don't go into thought mode.
I just went there. Okay, I think roadblocks majorly, I think what I've already kind of flagged majorly is going to be the uniqueness. And it's not a problem which is going to come, it's still a problem today. Still today we are talking to a lot of brands where, and let me give you an example, right? Okay, what happens these days for everyone who's on social media, the focus on hygiene content is very high. You go to someone and say, okay, here's a shampoo brand. Quickly, the top, content pegs on their top of the head is, okay, hair care tips. Okay, this is how to wash your hair and this and that. Okay, what beyond that? ये तो कोई भी कर सकता है. How do you bring the brand alive? That's where the human will come in. So, as Anuj said, it is going to require a lot of work from the human side as well. So the strategy majorly is going to be to speed up work and use it for inputs. And I can say this because I used it recently for a pitch. That's not cheating in my defense. It worked wonders, but here's the thing, as you said, it's not about asking it something, asking AI for answers and using them as is. It's a brainstorming tool, right? So once, so what I did was, for example, I was working on this pitch and I figured after my audience research and everything, I figured, okay, that this is what I need to do, this is what I need to say to the audience as a communication strategy. Now I need tagline ideas. Now I don't have a starting point. So I use ChatGPT as a starting point. I'll say, okay, ChatGPT, give me a few tagline ideas, which tells, say, chief technology officers in big organizations that they can be um, worry-free about digital transformation. Somehow, that detailed, it got the brief pretty much exactly how I intended it to, and it gave me a list of 10 answers. Now, I remember someone on LinkedIn telling me that your ChatGPT is not a threat until it can't figure मज़ा नहीं आया क्या होता है as a feedback. But here's the fun bit. It does. Because if you go back there and say that, hey, that wasn't fun, can you try something else? It actually gives you more options. So I looked up 30 different options. None of them worked for me, to be honest. But I got cues. I started with 0 ideas. Without ChatGPT, I might have taken an hour. But with ChatGPT, it took me 10 minutes to start with a lot of ideas and then put the pieces together and then come up with a tagline. So I think that's the strategy that most people need to kind of take up. Be it brands, be it creators. I think creators struggle the most with कि आज क्या content create करे यार. Yes, you see the pain here, right? And I'm sure that's all of you. So ask ChatGPT यार, इतना मेहनत मत करो. Ask it, but yes, what will differentiate you is going to be the personality. Like Aditi, you have to take that idea, but give it your spin. Make it a Atamaji Satakli. That's what you have to do. Subtle plugin for my own as well. So I create content on YouTube around marketing and strategy. I named my
Mandal Bhari.
pen name as Mandal Bhari. Now Mandal Bhari is something ChatGPT 110% cannot come up with. And I'm proud of it. Yet, ouch. Hit taken. But yes, I'll keep that in mind for strategy going forward. But yes, so I think it's all about finding the touch points where we can make it use.
Roadblocks reminder. Challenges.
Challenges. I think challenges majorly is going to be around reliability of the content. Because I think just a couple days back there was a conversation around you're getting information from ChatGPT, but it does not cite the source, right? So you don't know where that is coming from. Does it give you 2 different numbers for 2 different prompts? So in the absence of it, there are going to be compliance issues. To what limit can you actually depend on that data? And I think that's where for brands, especially compliance and legal issues will come in. And I think that's also an emerging job that will come up now. That how do you take care of all of that?
Yeah. I think I'll add to, I think both of you beautifully summed it up. It is going to definitely make sure that the work is done faster. It will definitely help you with cues. There are hiccups, it's too early a stage to say. I'll actually give you an example which happened with one of my clients and we were discussing it outside. For me, the biggest challenge right now is trust. Though it's there. So basically, our team wrote 5 pieces of content. And there's an option in ChatGPT that you put the content and you ask, did you write it? To some people, it says, I am a design something, AI bot, and I can't write it. The same content pieces, it told us, I have not written it because, of course, it was not written by. To my client, it said, I have written it. And we have screenshots of both, of the same content. What it did do was first made my client question me, me questioning my writer, and the writer questioning his or her own integrity. Now, what I loved very beautifully in what Rahul said was using ChatGPT is not cheating. So, for each and every creator out there, using it is not cheating. तुमने कोई दगाबाजी नहीं की, it's not अच्छा सिला दिया तूने मेरे पैर का. Please, okay? It's
We are also changing the definition of cheating itself, no? Back
there's
in the day,
noth-
cheating was looking in someone's paper. Now it's like, no. I looked at 5 things. I got inspired. So
Originality is just undetected plagiarism, okay? That's what William Inge says. And that's what it is. It's just that someone else didn't hear about it. Gay also says the same thing. That hai abhi bahut kuch jo kaha nahi gaya. So there'll always be something that's never said. So the fact that, you're using it is not wrong, is not something that you should be questioned for. But giving it your take, giving it your spin, how to give it cues. It's a new skill set that each and every person should have. People will be sooner or later looking for that skill set. Just say I remember seeing this in one of the jobs. I never actually applied for them, but I saw that it was a trait that it was written, you should be a good Googler. I was like, Googler is also what is a Googler, boss? And I had to Google to find out there's a Googler. So basically, someone who's very good at Google search was a skill set. People wanted someone who can, quickly, like nobody can beat us in making sure to stalk someone on social media, right? We'll find किसकी boyfriend की शादी किससे भी जानते भी नहीं हो पर we know what is happening in someone else's life. That's also a skill set, guys. But to figure out, that is a skill set. That shows how aware you are, how good you are with keywords. That shows how deep can you dig in when it comes to keywords. And if you have that, you should definitely enter the field if you are already not. Because I'm telling you, it helps me a lot. So coming to the fact that the challenge is, it definitely is a trust question. And coming to creators now you know the roadblocks. So Sayali and Aditi, how center of attraction and center stage right now. How are you planning to address these roadblocks? मैंने तो अपना भी दुखड़ा रो दिया कि भाई पूरा लड़ाई हो गई, विवाद से विश्वास वाली बात हो गई मोदी जी की. तो what do you think? How do you plan to?
personally, I'm gonna say something. Creators might not like it. I felt in the last few years the content has become shallow. We kind of, in order to come up with that quick and everyday content, we're not saying much. We are just following the trends. We are copying other people, and I feel that has to, in a way, we have to rethink that aspect.
Too many moments, no marketing left.
Good one, yes. So in that, when we start looking at content, I again go back to value creation. If you create impact and if you genuinely want to make a difference, then add value. And ChatGPT will give you 15 ways of doing it. You sit
Adding
down-
value?
No, yeah, it does. It gives you ideas to do it. You sit down, say,
Nice.
what do I believe in? And go back and in Sanskrit there's a word, they say chintan, manan. So that's very important that you have to have your insight. Information can be given to you. Insight is what you have to always work on. And your experience of 10 years, 20 years will bring that insight to that conversation. So build that insight and then make content. I remember people come back, and I'm sure it has happened to every creator. They have heard a podcast episode which was released 3 years ago or something that happened 2 years back, and they just said this one part, was actually moving, and I was going through this phase, and your one sentence, one word stayed with me. I feel that is the power of reaching out to people. So ChatGPT will make it easier, obviously, but do not forget that we are talking to people. There are human beings on the other side, and everything that you say is either hitting or not hitting. So that aspect I feel one has to keep in mind. I'm concerned, I feel people are going to be really stressed because now the speed of generation and your demand and expectation and basic minimum going to go really high, and that's going to spoil people's mental health further. So be careful, creators. Do not let it get to you. Like, create whatever you have to, but if you're not having fun, like last 45 days, I took break after 3 years of creating content regularly. And people are like, are you okay? What's happening? This, that, whatever. But I'm like, I need to do this. And it's okay for us to pause, think, and find that insight. If you don't have the insight, you'll wear out. And then what would you talk about tomorrow? So it's a long-term game. Play it. No matter how fast they want you to go, just do what pace you can pick up with. Yeah.
That's a beautiful creator perspective, actually. We agency walas forget it at times.
I agree.
Pitch. No kitch.
I actually agree and resonate with what you said, because content has become shallow, because first it was you could take 5 minutes to say what you want to. Now you have to, not just 30-60 seconds, you have to convince the samne wala in the first 3 seconds. If your hook is not right, they are not going to watch your full video. And you are not going to get views, and these agencies are not going to come to you. So it has become shallow. It is about the hook, it is about catching the attention, and it has become shallow because, unfortunately, I feel now this is very controversial, but the audience is looking for shallow things. The audience doesn't has so much stress already. मतलब घर आके Instagram पे भी वही नहीं सुनना है. That has happened to me. They're like अभी बस हो गया ना ज्ञान, कितना फाइनेंस सुनेंगे Instagram पे, नहीं देखना अभी. लॉकडाउन पे जब घर पे बैठे थे, फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन वाज नॉट गुड. दैट टाइम दे वांटेड टू लिसन टू मी बिकॉज मैं ज्ञान अच्छा देती थी. अभी नहीं सुनना. क्यों? क्योंकि काम करना है यार. 9 to 6 I work and then come back and listen to the same thing. But I think, like we've said before, that it's going to reduce the production value. It's going to help. It's going to give us ideas. It's just we need to constantly keep upskilling, because what happens as creators, we become very if we reach that particular stage, if we are getting those many views, or if we reach that particular number, we become complacent. Because कितना ही मतलब how much you don't have those many hours in a day, right? मतलब फिर से अगर पढ़ाई करनी थी तो मैं content creator क्यों बनी, right? But you have to learn, you have to understand what ChatGPT means. It's a bigger revolution than just the search engine. Imagine Google was threatened by it. So imagine the
मैं जल्दी से अपना
potential.
कुछ बनाता हूँ. Google is like जल्दी से अपना कुछ बनाता हूँ. And they did
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. Matlab, imagine the potential of changing the industry as a whole. I found an AI based editor like in what, 2 days? Bichara, my editor for the last month, uska abhi less than half ho gaya how much I'm paying him, because I'm not giving him any thing to do, because he's a freelancer. So as freelancers, the entire content creator community, the entire industry has to learn. Your editors have to upskill, your VFX people, your, you know, basically your end-to-end solutions need to upskill and figure out where all AI is sort of placing itself, and what you need to do to make sure that you are still relevant and still understanding where the game is at now, because the game has been raised. You need to come up here. It's one of those things.
So well said. Coming to what she just said, that Google, what both of you said actually, that your uniqueness, your own voice is something that will be the defining factor. But the fact that Siley just said, that it is bigger, the game is bigger. The fact that it's people like companies like Microsoft launching its AI integration in Bing, Google launching Bard, and the fact that one wrong answer cost Google a dive in their shares. One wrong answer in the live announcement of AI tool that they launched made sure that Alphabet's share went zoom. So it is something that, not just companies, not just creators, it is going to change the face of things, the way we function. Mridal, what is very beautiful for me is that you have worked with AI models in the past at Quora. And Quora has also just launched its own AI tool, Poe, I think. I want to know that, as everybody just spoke about, and there's this thing that we always talk about, that sab kuch acha hai and it's always followed by a lekin. Everything is good, but. So that but that we talk about, what do you think is or are the buts when it comes to AI as a technology? I'm looking for a technical sort of because gyan vyan to hum log de lete hain. So what do you think is that but, or are those buts that it will make it wait and watch?
I don't know how much of like technical angle I could bring, because I worked in the product support function of Quora, and essentially like worked in the support and had like worked a little bit on the compliance side of it. But having said that, I can definitely sense the concern and the gravity that the content creation industry as such is experiencing. And same goes with, say, any AI generated bot is experiencing the same kind of like challenge, right? Because if I may say so, and probably like in a very layman language, everything that you get from, let's say, Chat GPT or Bard or any other generative model is basically something that you have fed from the people, right? Like how Google, when you Google something, there are results that sometimes like are very weird and not factual. Sometimes like your Wikipedia answers, because it's a community-led, you know,
True.
community contributed content, sometimes it can go wrong. So same goes with, say, bot, right? And that's why there the disclaimers are very, very important, where they say that, you know, like the data is, you know, old, or it's of 2021. And one of the things that we were constantly facing was that, is the response coming correct? And if it is not coming correct, then you have to have like some sort of due diligence. Now, it's the beginning right now. And as we go, people will expect quality. Otherwise, तो लोगों से काम करा लो ना, अगर due diligence करना है तो, right? So, so two things that I personally feel that will be very, very important is equity and fairness in how the chat bot is actually throwing up the results. It's very easy to manipulate, let's say with SEM right now on search, right? So similarly, because these bot models also will have some sort of monetization in the future. And if they don't have, they will have some sort of model, because sabko paise banane hai, right? So how will it work? The challenge will be, how will you reduce the bias that algorithm already have? How will you reduce this whole thing about, you know, whether this is the right point of view and this is the wrong point of view, right? So those are the things, I guess, will be the major challenge. And second is obviously the transparency and accountability. And, you know, these big firms that are launching right now have to take the accountability, because it has the power to really harm the humanity, if I may say so. Like I wouldn't be exaggerating if I say that, you know, in next decade or so, and I think Andrew NG have like mentioned a beautiful quote. I wish I could have written it here so that I could read it. But it goes like something like this. So, you know, in next decade or so, the major issue would be around how AI is going to transform the society, and, you know, how it will address it. But at the same time, it will also be a major, you know, challenge for the humanity as such to, you know, take care of that the worst should not happen. Any technology in the past that we have evolved, when internet came, it was just another tool for accessing information. Today it is everything. It also is a cesspool of scam, cesspool of trafficking, and all those malicious things. And I personally feel that, you know, we are right now gravitating towards AI being like everything, but AI
We are
could
part
do
of that
so
vicious
much.
circle now.
Absolutely.
Too far in the Chakravyuh
Too
to
far
come
in the
out now.
Chakravyuh, and the problem is that people are right now just concerned about the the generative content, but it is so much more than that. It will actually run your life, like how we have these virtual assistants at home, right? Like Alexa, Siri. Imagine if they just like talk like human beings. It is mind blowing, but at the same time very challenging.
Yeah, I know.
How much they will know more about you. And, you know, people were saying that, you know, hey, Chat GPT cannot be a human. Where
Whatever
it will be
cues we
more
are
intelligent
feeding,
than
whatever
human.
cues we
Yeah.
are feeding is basically leading them to know us better.
Exactly. And the problem is that, you know, as a person, as like 5 people here, we have our own blind spots. ChatGPT has a thing that, you know, it is learning from each of us. So at least it's smarter from like 5 of us, right? And that's why it's more and more important that as it evolves, we have to also start evolving ourselves. We will have to, end of the day, we have made what it is, right? So we need to be a little step ahead. And sometimes when people are creating technology, they don't even know what kind of monster they are building. But the fact is that you don't have to see or perceive everything as a monster. You have to make sure that it works as an assistant and you work as a lord. So, you know, piling onto the suggestion or the thing that, you know, Rahul mentioned about how would you leverage something like ChatGPT, right? Like the kind of prompts that you give, you're talking about the Googler, the right kind of prompts, it can actually reduce your workload by like 80%, 90%, if I may say so, right? But you have to be intelligent enough to give, you know, that kind of like actionable prompt to them to help it create it. But at the same time, again, whether it is going to be fair, where there'll be a due diligence, that is there for future. And I think more jobs will come up, like how when big data happen and all the data operators were like taken home, and like data scientists, like the whole crop of data scientists came in. So I think data, any company that knows, they might have, like everybody's sitting on the pile of data, how they're using it, how they're training their LLM models, that will just revolutionize.
Data is a
revolutionize
two-edged
everything.
sword.
Absolutely.
Too many
absolutely.
cookies have been fed. None of us have gotten them. But yeah, so the fact that cookies are still, something that we can avoid, and now we can put a decline. I don't know what it does, but
Right.
yeah. But for this right now, there is no mechanism to even check how much data, how much information is GPT actually taking. It's just endless right now.
And honestly, like sometimes I just stop worrying about cookies. For one reason, because if you have a digital footprint, they are tracking you. So there's no point fighting it. But at
continue
the-
to munch on your
yes,
cookies.
I mean, be a saint or just be a, just enjoy.
Just enjoy the cookies.
वैसे भी 20 साल की जिंदगी और है तो मतलब
Okay, that's for another conversation, Mrinal. Come on. Okay, I think coming to the final part of it, if you were to define the future, we've discussed the then, now. If you were to define the future of content with AI, each one of you, if you could take to 2 minutes, maybe starting from Rahul. Rahul, 2 minutes.
It's going to be lesser than that because I have just one thing to say. AI दोस्ती है.
AI क्या है?
AI दोस्ती है.
Oh, bhai, happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
अगर वो मेरी सबसे अच्छी दोस्त नहीं बन सकती तो मुझे उससे कभी प्यार नहीं हो सकता. That's all.
He's just living up to his name. Mandal Bhari to bolo signature style.
कैसे मैच करूँ इसका एनर्जी so I'm just gonna go ahead and like be the Marvel fangirl that I am. With great power comes great responsibility, says Spider-Man. And I think AI has to have some sort of clear guidelines. The governments have to act really fast to ensure that there is a compliance structure to it, so that people, while they're leveraging it, there are more intelligent, more smarter people who are trying to figure out how to use it for the worse. And we just have to act faster, and the governments have to like move with a lot of agility. So I think while everybody is stressing about कि अरे jobs चली जाएंगी, I am stressing about हमारी country बचेगी क्या?
Okay, I have to continue the movie and Bollywood. It's like kuch kuch hota hai, Anjali, tum nahi samjhogi. That's what AI gonna do. So you're gonna absolutely be in the middle of making so many decisions, because a lot of confusion and stress comes from the fact that we have to decide a lot more than ever before. Like we make around 3,000 decisions in a day, and back in the day we made like 30 decisions. So with having more information, we'll be making more decisions, and that's gonna definitely put a lot of pressure on people. I am being a mental fitness practitioner and advocate. I'm concerned about that as an area. So whatever you're doing, please make sure that you do it in a way that also is not unhealthy for yourself, because once the technology takes over, you would not realize. So keep upgrading, keep upskilling. That's really important.
Can I ask ChatGPT for options on this? Like, can I do that? Okay, I'm going to continue this. We've been cautioned, but zindagi na milegi dobara. Embrace it, learn it, constantly be adaptable to it, and I think, make it a part of you. Come on, you can do this.
Do it.
I'm actually ending the conversation on a serious note. Find your uniqueness, find your identity, and I think everything is gonna be all right. So don't worry. Yeah.
He's still
All
Dr.
is well.
Anuj, all is well.
All is well. Peace,
Kal ho now,
peace.
kal ho now, kal ho now.
Kal ho now.
Oh, perfect. So two filmier panel I have. I didn't expect any less of them. मेरी तो निकली ही नहीं इनकी कदर. To sum it up on a serious note, and then of course the filmy note, I think what if I was to sum up with what all of them said in the past 40 minutes, creativity, uniqueness, and strategy. These are the three deciding factors that differentiate us from AI. At the same time, bringing your own uniqueness and being aware and not letting technology override you is something, sort of a disclaimer that Mrinal warned us with. I am also very curious because the panel was, of course, about content. What I'm very curious about is how it's going to change the education and healthcare spaces, especially with ChatGPT. I think the personalization of how education should be imparted to a particular student could actually be a game changer. Similarly for healthcare as well, so much data is lying with the kind of files we have. If it could churn out and actually tell about diseases and diagnose them, I think that's also another very important thing that I'm looking forward to in the near future, because though it's not the kind of content we feed on, but that's something very part and parcel of life. Rest, I think, when it comes to defining the part that we are, so I think kal aur aayenge nagme. खिलती कलियां कहने वाले, मुझसे बेहतर कहने वाले, तुमसे बेहतर सुनने वाले. हम, मैं भी इस पल का हिस्सा हूँ, तुम भी इस पल के हिस्से हो, और हम सब शायर हैं, because we are all content creators. So let's just live it up, and I think we'll be able to sail through. For now, if you guys have questions, please do. We just have the tendency of digressing. Does anybody have questions? That's a universal statement. Were we so convincing? No questions? Amazing. Thank you guys. We were perfect. Amazing. Nice. Thank you so much.